Hi, folks. I'm Lacey Ryan, founder of Creative Family Counseling in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm a marriage and family therapist, play therapist, and a positive discipline parent educator. And I have been talking with a lot of families the last couple of weeks about both children and parents having anxiety of getting back to life outside of their homes now that work and school and camps and those sorts of things are approaching many families. And so I have 10 tips for preparing your children for life outside of the home that I wanted to share with you. First and foremost, parents, how are you feeling about all of this? If you are anxious, your children will pick up on it. They are intuitive and they pay attention to not just what you say, but how you act and what you do. And they pay attention to the underlying message to that, which helps them understand what they need to do to feel safe. So if you say to them, sure, it's fine for you to go back to school 6 weeks from now, it's not going to be any problem, but you freak out and have an adult meltdown when they touch their face without using hand sanitizer again, then they're going to interpret that underlying message of it actually isn't very safe outside of our home. So, parents, first and foremost, I want to encourage you to take care of yourselves. If you need to go to your own therapy or if you need to practice your own calming methods, but to work on your anxiety so you can feel confident that you and your family have a good plan in place for getting back to life outside of your home. Number two is to go ahead and have a game plan in place. And so all of the children's caregivers need to be on the same page with what the plan is and how you're going to do that. And so when you decide ahead of time and you communicate to your children, I've got a plan, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to stay safe, it reassures them that you are in charge and that you've got it handled, which sort of releases them of the responsibility of having to make those decisions for themselves. So let them know ahead of time before you go somewhere that we're going to wear masks and we're going to stay 6 feet apart and we're going to wash our hands and we're going to do these sorts of things, and this is all we need to do to be safe. And so by focusing on the things that are within their control to stay safe and healthy, that alleviates some anxiety for them also. Number three is if you are returning to work or camps or preparing for school, to go ahead and get back on schedule. So get the bedtime and nighttime routine in place, get your wake up times started so they can get used to being back on that schedule. Being fully rested can really help mitigate some anxiety and moodiness and big feelings surrounding this big transition. So get everybody as rested as possible. Number four is to just get them excited about all the things that they're looking forward to doing now that you're going to be doing activities outside of the home again. Have them make a list and then let them take turns on choosing which activities your family does as you move toward activities outside of your home. Number five is to consider having an incremented approach. So if you have spent all of your time at home over the last few months, and in 6 weeks they're going to be going back to school, be thinking about how you can warm them up into being away from the home. So maybe schedule some play dates, maybe meet up with some families, maybe have a family friend over, or schedule a picnic with someone. Allow them to have some successful opportunities outside of your home so they can start to flex their brave muscles a bit. Number six is to go ahead and check with the school teachers or camps or other professionals involved in their caregiving to know what will be different about this school year that's coming up. That way you can communicate it to them and that they can expect those changes rather than be surprised by them. Number seven is to create a nurturing and supportive environment where your kids can share their emotions and their concerns about the transition back outside of their home. Acknowledge that it can be anxiety provoking, encourage them to talk about it, draw about it, write about it, just process and share it. You might want to point out and recognize your child's own stress signals by saying something like, I notice the look on your face and wonder if you might be feeling nervous or scared right now. And so that helps them understand what they're feeling. It validates how they're feeling, and it presents the opportunity for them to share and open up about that feeling with you. Number 8 is if your child is experiencing big feelings about this, to go ahead and introduce some ways for them to calm down and regulate those emotions. These are called coping skills or regulation skills. I like to liken big feelings to riding a wave. So when our scared wave gets really big, we can either get pulled under by that wave or we can use some tools to ride the wave as the feeling comes down. And that's important to note that the feeling will come down, that when it gets really big, it will come back down, that it won't stay up here when our feelings get really big. And so, what are some things that we can do to calm ourselves down? What are some of our favorite coping skills? What are the things that make us feel better when our feelings get really big? And to go ahead and start practicing that with them. Another good idea is to have a practice run. So go ahead and get all your stuff ready the night before. Wake up as if you're going to go to school. Practice getting into the car and leaving on time. On the way to school, talk about how they're feeling, what they're looking forward to, who they're excited to be seeing in person. Maybe you talk about what to expect regarding the changes that the school has implemented. Share with them how you're feeling, share with them what coping skills you're using, and then ask them, how are you feeling and what sort of coping skills do you have to ride those feelings when they get really big? And then when you come back home, go ahead and practice with them what your new coming home routine will be. And so, where do our shoes go? Where does our backpack go? Perhaps with with the social distancing and the pandemic, you might want to have some cleaning routines when you come home. And so, taking our shoes off outside, or coming in and changing our clothes and washing our hands. And so, you go ahead and practice those routines now and work out all the kinks before the actual day of. Nothing beats a bad start to the day than a bad drop off. So let's go ahead and practice that a few times before the actual day. Number 10 is to talk with your child about what their brave looks like. So what color is your brave? How does brave feel? What does it feel like when you put on your brave? Maybe you do some art activities about what they look like when they're brave. And so then you might want to ask them, what are some times in the past that you have used bravery? How did that go? What did that feel like for you? What was the posture that you put on when you're brave? And so when you prepare them in this way, bravery becomes a resource with them that they can take with them to school when they go back. And so maybe there's like a little trinket or a symbol that reminds them of their bravery that they can take with them in their backpack or in their pocket. And so if so, let them pick that out and have it with them. And lastly, in closing, just remember that this is another big transition that we're asking of them. Just like being at home all day, every day was a really big transition, being outside of our home when we're feeling anxious about it is also a big transition. And so just give yourself some grace and understanding and patience for yourself as well as your children right now. I hope this is helpful. If you need help on getting your child to wear a mask, you might want to check out our other video on that, as well as our blog entry by visiting creativefamilycounseling.org. Good luck. Bye.